Good evening, everyone. It's me again, Al Brown Spencer. Today is Wednesday, the 14th of January, 2026, and it is 10:30 in the evening. I am still here in San Sebastian in my van, and nothing has changed. No justice whatsoever, and I am not getting any justice here. Hence, I decided to leave and go to Cantabria, and this is a final decision. And yeah, despite the fact that San Sebastian here is so beautiful and the bay is so beautiful, but justice for me is more important. And I'm going to go to Cantabria and stay a couple of months and see what's the situation. And if the situation is the same and I'm not getting justice, I will be leaving and heading to Denmark. And I will be stopping in France, Netherlands, and Germany on the way in order to find out what's the situation and so on, and if there is anything that would be new. Although I literally lived in Germany 2 years, and I left because I couldn't get justice there. And in France, I stayed 3 months and nothing whatsoever, besides some other stuff that I experienced there. As for the Netherlands, I've never stopped in the Netherlands or tried to live there. So on the way back, I might stay for a month or something or whatever and see what's the situation. I don't know what else to say apart from the fact I'm still surviving by going, standing with my sign, asking people for help, and waiting for people to help me, and asking people for help. Some people give me money, some people buy me food, some people, just take some leaflet and read it and so on. In either cases, my fight to get justice for what was done to me is not gonna stop. And when I'm saying justice, I mean 100% justice. And when I say 100% justice, I mean in every way, shape, and form. So my compensations for the use and abuse and torture that I experienced, the money that was owed to my father or was invested for my father, the money that was invested for me, my compensations, any money that I own, and even if I don't know about, and so on. Plus the punishment for those who got involved in what was done to me, my freedom, and my right to expose this organization. I'd give the people the details of everything that was done to me and who they are and all of this. Uh, I have no authority, no power, nothing whatsoever. I have been living in a van since March 2024. I'm helpless, I'm hopeless, no hygiene. But recently I managed to get a membership in a gym, 30 euros per month, which someone paid me and people helped me and so on. So I can go and have a shower and so on. But still here in my van, there is no hygiene whatsoever. Just a van, and this is just a van. It's not like a motorhome that is prepared and all of this or equipped. This is all of this woodwork and all of this. I did it myself when I was in Germany before I left, in order to put my stuff, my tools, my clothes, and all of this and so on. And even the fridge I have here, I don't use it because I don't run the van regularly enough to charge the batteries to be adequate to run this fridge. So yeah, I run the van to run the battery so I can charge the mobile, have light, and all of this. I'm waiting impatiently to get justice so I can start living and achieve my dreams in life and goals, specifically that I'm not getting any younger, and every day that passes on me is a day wasted. And I don't know what else to say apart from, I didn't give up and I will never give up, although it's hard work. Just surviving and carrying on with all the attack I am under every single day, psychologically, physiologically and mentally, and, no hygiene, no space, no place to call home, no family, no friends, no money, nothing. So yeah, I'm doing my best anyway, and we shall see what's going to happen. In this video as well, I would like to discuss something that might not be important regarding my own problem as, getting justice and all of this. have I said that? It's for me important to talk about this because I'm a farmer. And for me as a farmer, it's really important that I know that the animals I'm breeding and the poultry I'm breeding are safe from animals and so on. And I always claim, and I always said, animals like opossum, coyotes, jackals, foxes, wolves, wild cats, and all of this. These animals that can attack farms and eat domestic animals and can represent threat even to our kids and even adults and so on. These animals must be put down and must be hunted and put down. And I've just watched a video on YouTube saying that a month ago, the European Union decided to ease down or, reduce the power of the laws they had to protect animals like wolves, specifically wolves in Europe. And they will start to hunt down wolves to reduce the number after wolves attack lots of farms and so on. And before even thinking about recording this video about this specific topic, I watched the video about someone who is, animal lover and, activist regarding animal welfare, blah, blah, blah. And they talk about wolves and the importance of wolves in the ecosystem or for the environment. And what they said in their video is that wolves changed the environment, regenerated, areas, protected rivers, blah, 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 and all of this bullshit that they say. Now, what I would like to say is, wolves are destructive animals, exactly like foxes, coyotes, jackals, and so on. And human beings are more important than animals in every way, shape, and form. And it is us human beings, we breed livestock and, poultries and so on, because we produce so we can feed each other. We can feed our race as human beings. Even the wildlife, wild animals such as deer, elk, and rabbits, and all of the animals that we can hunt and harvest the environment, the nature, and produce meat, organic free-range meat to ourselves and our families is very important. Now, animals like wolves, jackals, coyotes, foxes, opossum, and all of this, and wildcats, they attack our livestock, our poultries, livestock, sheep and cows and this and that, and they eat it. Not only this, they consume lots and lots of the wildlife and the nature. Like the wildlife in nature, like elks, deer, and so even moose and so on. Now, what is the rule that wolves do for the environment? According to the animal welfare lovers or welfare activists and all of this, all what they are talking about is how wolves manage the number of wild animals like a deer, elks, and so on. The animals that is plant eating, or her they eat like plants and all of this. I'm so sorry, I can't remember even the term for them. Anyway, so all what they are saying is that wolves like controlling the number of these animals, and in return they give a chance for the environment in terms of plants and vegetation to grow and flourish, which in return has another impact on how the environment, even the soil, blah, 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 and all of this. And of course, all of this, with all respect, even if it's true, for me, it's bullshit for one reason. I'm a farmer, but also I do hunting. I love hunting and providing organic meat and, free range to myself and my family, or when I have a family and so on. So what is better that the number of deer and elk and moose or whatever animals and rabbits, blah, 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 in the wilderness is controlled by the wolves and eaten by the wolves, or it's better that we human beings control this. And when I say we human beings control this, I mean, for example, in the United States, every hunter, every season, according to what the scientists who calculate the number of the wildlife, the white-tailed deer or the other deers or the elk, blah, 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 and they decide what are the numbers that should be hunted this year or this season, whether males and females, blah, 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 of each species. And according to this, they make tickets for each animal, and they distribute these tickets to the hunters. And every hunter is given a number of tickets, and they cannot exceed it. This is to kill or hunt these animals or from these species, what males, what females, what age, blah, 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 and all of this. According to the statistics and the study by the people who observe in the nature and the count the animal numbers and all of this. So what I'm trying to say here is, rather than giving the wolves the priority to eat these animals and limit what hunters, we human beings, can consume from the nature, it's better that we consume what the wolves and other animals consume. So if the hunter, after the wolves ate zillions of animals, in the season, and only left with whatever, a hunter would take, let's say, 10 tickets in the best season, for example. 10 tickets. So 10 animals to be harvested for this hunter, for example, to provide for his family. If we delete wolves completely and what they eat from the wildlife, from elks, deer, and all of this, it's us human beings that we will consume this. So the hunters, rather than hunting only 10 animals, or, this is just for example, a hunter could hunt 30, 40 every season. More meat to give to his family, his neighbors, and so on. So communities and cities and towns, even the rural ones, they will have enough resources in terms of meat and wildlife harvest. Okay? And still, we would be doing the job that animals like wolves do. So if the wolves have the right to exist and eat what we could eat, for example, or consume, think about it like dinosaurs, dragons. They once existed on Earth. Imagine if dinosaurs or dragons come back to life and coexist with human beings. It would be a chaos. Imagine dragons fly and destroy and burn and eat people and kill people. Dinosaurs so strong that even gunshots will not stop them, and they can destroy and eat, blah, 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 and all of this. Someone would say, animal lover, well, they have the right to exist. Well, if you say so, I wish you go and just live with dinosaurs and see what they will do to you. Just go, it's better just to throw this bastard to dinosaurs or dragons and then let them say what they want to say about these animals and so on. If you don't love your own race or your own species, us human beings, and favor them and put them first, you do not deserve to live with people. If you love animals more than people, you do not deserve to live with people. As simple as that. Number one on earth is human being. As simple as that. So, again, I'm trying to repeat this and say it again clearly. Wolves are destructive animals, exactly like jackals, like foxes, coyotes, opossum, wild cats, and so on. And the best thing to do, in my opinion, this is my opinion, animals like wolves, for example, their job to reduce animals that eat vegetation or plants and so on, which has great impact on plants and environment in other way and so on. We human beings can do this job, and we will have more resources in terms of animals to hunt and meat and so on. And I promise you, there are lots and lots of hunters everywhere in the world. They would be ecstatic if that happens. because they will have more chance to hunt more. So it's not just the pleasure of hunting, because hunting is a pleasure. And it's not just the pleasure of just killing an animal. It's the pleasure itself of that you provide, you know, organic free range meat to yourself, to your family, to your neighbors, and so on. Imagine when they have more opportunities. So rather than, if you live, for example, and please forgive the numbers and don't quote me on this. Like, for example, if you live in any kind of in any state in the United States and you're a hunter, and every season for you it's important how many animals you're going to hunt, how much meat you're going to provide or put in your freezer and so on for the season or the whole year and consume and so on. Imagine if you normally hunt only 10, 15 animal a whole year, and then you can, hunt 30, 40. I mean, of course, everyone will be happy, the hunters and so on. So if any animal lover and animal welfare activists or whatever fighting to say that wolves, do a good job for the environment and so on, this is bullshit. Why would you love an animal more than your own kind? Why? And if you do love any kind of animal more than your own kind, you do not deserve to live with people. You just go and live in the wilderness with animals that you love. As simple as that. Again, wolves are destructive animals. How farmers can have good sleep, for example, knowing that there are wolves out there that can attack their farms, eat their sheep or calves or whatever animals they breed or poultry and so on. How? Look at videos of any farm that was attacked by wolves, and you will see how much damage and destruction these animals do. And of course, foxes, coyotes, wildcat, and all of this. The problem is these animals, they kill lots of animals. I mean, lots of domestic animals when they attack a farm, and they don't eat them all. Like you go and find, like for example, if wolf pack attacks a sheep farm, for example, they kill, I don't know, like 20, 30, and they only eat about 2 of them in total, or 3. How much meat can a wolf fill in its stomach? And how many wolves in a pack? 7, 4, 8, 10? You see that 1 sheep would be enough to fill, or 2 would be enough to fill the whole pack. But they don't do this. They kill as many sheep as possible, or calves, or whatever. So these animals are destructive animals, and if it is up to me, all wolves in the wilderness would be literally exterminated, and only few of them will be kept in a zoo. As simple as that. Animals like wolves, coyotes, foxes, these animals are just destructive animals. These animals could live in a zoo to keep the numbers, to keep these animals, and see what's going to happen to the environment. I mean, if you see that there is imbalance and all of this, study. Listen to the hunters who actually go in the wilderness and actually hunt and see what kind of animals are left and birds and what kind these animals kill and consume. For example, in Australia, wildcat ended species of wild birds. Just one animal, wildcats, ended species. Imagine when a whole species of a bird vanished from an area or a region. And they did this. In the United States, raccoons, they finish species of animals and of birds by eating their eggs, blah, 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 and all of this. So, in other words, human beings, we are number 1 on this planet. We are more important than any animal in the world or any other being in the world. And anyone who loves animals or activists regarding animal welfare and so on, blah, 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 if you do not love your own kind, or if you love animals more than your own kind, you do not deserve to live with people. You should go and live in the wilderness with the animals that you love. Because human beings are more important than any being on earth, no matter what. A human being does not come second to any other being on earth. As simple as that. And I'm so glad that the European Union started to wake up and started to stand up against animal welfare activists and all of this bullshit. And someone must stand up and tell all of these bastards, wake up. A human being is more important than any being on earth. One human being is more important than all the animals and birds and every other being on earth. As simple as that. And this is my own opinion. I know not everyone will agree with this or support this, but this is what I believe in. So, well done, the European Union, and hopefully the United States will follow suit, or at least, they start to think, properly about, the importance of the human being life and, resources in the wilderness in terms of animals that we can harvest and we can eat and all of this, blah, blah, blah. Because trust me, it's all about us human beings. And without us on earth, there is no awareness. Do you know what I mean? Like, without going into details about other beings who are intelligent and all of this. Anyway, we are number one, and we are the most important being on earth, at least for each other. So when someone thinks about human beings, we are number one. We are the most important species or kind of being on earth. And we all should think the same towards each other, regardless of the differences or, bad examples or whatever. But we human beings are the most important being on earth, as simple as that. And I'm saying it again and again, and I will say it again and again and again and again. I'm going to repeat it until the last second of my life. If you love animals more than people, you should not live with people. You should go and live in the wilderness with the animals you love. And probably you are going to end up being eaten or killed by these animals. As simple as that. Anyway, I'm so sorry that I got this subject or topic, in this video while I'm in this situation. But to be honest with you, I am so tired and upset and angry and, from my situation and the injustice I've been through and I'm going through and all of this. And by noticing and seeing that, people started to wake up, people started to, to think properly about, us human beings, people were, people couldn't say anything. Their animals were being eaten and killed by wolves and other animals, and they cannot do anything because they would be fined. If they have shot a wolf or whatever, they could have been fined. And it's another story. Who put these laws? I don't know. I think there should be a very deep and study that goes thoroughly through everything in terms of the importance and the role that every animal, like wild animals like this, do in the nature. And if animals, like as I try to explain it to you in a very simple way, that if wolves keep the number of other animals who which eat plants under control, we can do this as a human beings because we eat these animals. I mean, like deer, elk, moose, and other animals in the wilderness, we eat these animals. These animals actually is a delicacy, and they are, something that lots of people don't know how much, important these animals in terms of, the resources for human being in general, the nutritional value and all of this. So, again, these animals, if someone goes through a study, thoroughly study these animals, and they understand that these animals, the rule of these animals can be taken over by us human beings. So if any animal lover supporting wolves' existence in nature or coexisting and all of this, they must know that animals like this are destructive, and they must be under control, and they must be, in other words, the number should go down completely. And what the wolves do, for example, by controlling the number of animals, like coyotes or deer or whatever, we human beings can do this. We can control the number of these animals, and I'm sure there are lots of hunters everywhere who can do this. And I'm saying so because these animals, if you look at them, what they do as well in nature and so on, it's not just that they eat and kill animals, other animals savagely and all of this, but also they attack farms, they attack us human beings. And I don't know how many people were killed by wolves in the world. I didn't study this and so on. And I don't know, for example, last year, for example, 2025, from the beginning till the end, how many people were killed by wolves. I don't know. I don't have the numbers. How many farms in the world in total were attacked by wolves? I don't know. I don't have the numbers, but I know it's a lot of them. How many animals, domestic animals, were killed by wolves? I know it's a lot of them, and so on. You're going to find that the answer in the end is wolves shouldn't be a protected animal. Wolves should be hunted down. And in my opinion, this is my opinion. I mean, whether you agree with it or not, this is my opinion. I believe that they should, for example, in Europe, they should, in every country, for example, they should capture a number of wolves, males and females, and they keep them in a zoo, and they control in terms of, the birth and how many pups and so on. As in the wilderness, no, zero. Zero wolves in nature, zero wolves in wilderness. And we human beings can do the job that the wolves do, according to the animal activist and welfare and all of this. No one should compare human beings to animals. So no one should say animals destructive. Oh, all right, human beings are destructive. No, at all. Look at what we have reached in terms of technology, civilization, evolution, and all of this. We are the race or number one race or number one being on earth. We are number one being on earth in every way, shape, and form. And a human being's life is the most important life on earth and must be protected and respected at all cost. So when I say one human being's life worth all the animals and everything else on earth, apart from humans, of course, I mean it. And it's as simple as that. Anyway, I'm so sorry I talked with passion because, as I said, I'm so upset, so angry from my situation and so on. And to watch a program on YouTube saying that they have started to believe and think about hunting wolves down because of the damage they do and so on, for me, that's a big thing. For me, I'm like, thumbs up. They started to wake up. They started to understand what these animals or the destruction that these animals cause and so on. And I don't have a rifle yet. I don't even have a license yet and so on. But I am one of the people, wherever I'm going to live, my hunting license, my rifles are very important for me. I'm a farmer. I'm not a hunter. So I'm a farmer who hunts. I'm a farmer who does lots of things. Like, I'm not just a hunter, I'm a fisherman in terms of fishing and so on. But I'm a farmer who spear fish, who dives and catch fish. I'm a farmer who does other activities, and I have hobbies and so on. So for me as a farmer, it's very, very important. Hunting is very, very important. Not just to provide meat for myself and my family, organic, free range meat, but also to control any number of wild animals that could attack my farm in the future and so on. I mean, when I have a farm in the future, I would be shooting foxes, rats, wolves, any other, animals that can attack my livestock, whether poultry or animals like beef or sheep or goats or whatever. So yeah, I don't know. I feel better now expressing myself and praising the decision that the European Union finally took regarding controlling the number of wolves. And if anyone who can change something about this, although I hope someone who can change my situation would be better so I can. But anyway, I don't know. All what I'm going to say is well done for the European Union. Hopefully the United States and everywhere in the world, they will follow suit and understand that these animals are destructive, and any rule these animals do that any animal welfare activist will come up with regarding trying to highlight the importance of coexisting with these animals or the existence of these animals, in wilderness and so on, we can tell them to shut up. We can do this rule. If wolves control the number of deer, elk, blah, 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 so the vegetation can flourish again and so on, we can do this job. We human beings, there are lots of hunters everywhere who would be so happy to have more tickets every season for hunting more animals, which they will consume, or their beloved one, families, or even neighbors, or even, like giving it to people and so on. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and hopefully, things will be better for me as soon as possible, and I will get justice as soon as possible, because I'm actually dying to live and I need justice so badly. My number one priority is justice. I want justice so badly in every way, shape, and form. And I cannot wait to get justice and start living. Anyway, thank you very much. Take care and have a good night. Thank you.